Hello Aries friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Aries June 2024 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. I'm calling the theme of this month Neptune in Aries. You might be a little surprised by that, but I'm going to explain what I'm talking about because the implications of this movement of this planet into your sign is happening now, even though it's not officially there yet. So we're going to discuss all that, talk about this very big time that's coming for the next 14 years with this storyline that is definitely beginning now, and it's sneaking under the radar, which is probably why you're not really hearing about this. But it's one of the biggest aspects or biggest transits that Aries will be experiencing in a long time. So we're going to talk about that. This is for you. If Aries is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other placement that you're listening to for Aries, what we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. I have an Aries rising too, so I have a very personal vested interest in whatever it is that we're talking about. If you're a late degree Aries, a very late degree Aries, so birthdays like April 15th through the rest of the sign, or Aries degrees like 23 degrees to the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to my Taurus report because your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. All right, so let's talk about what I'm talking about here and why it's sneaky, why you're not hearing about this, but why you need to know it. I've been watching it for myself, which is why I know about it for you, which is why I'm bringing it to light. Also, we have a ton of other stuff to talk about this month. New moon, full moon. I'll give you the good, the bad, the ugly. We've got a terrible aspect this month. We've got an amazing series of aspects this month. So we're just going to go through it all. But I want to start with this. So Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011. It tends to be in a sign for around 14 years. And if you look at the chart, you'll see that Neptune is technically still Pisces. If you look up, when does Neptune go in Aries? It will say 2025 to 2026 because it officially enters Aries March 2025 and it dances back and forth a little bit and then officially gets there and stays in 2026, okay? But what that description is not telling you is that Neptune has spent the recent months and will be spending future many months within 1 to 3 degrees of Aries. Okay, so in astrology, especially when you're talking about an outer planet, 1 to 3 degrees away from something is in it. It's very much in it. It's where it is, but it's also where it's going. And you can kind of liken this. I always like to explain this in a way. If you've ever been to the beach and you like drive over a bridge and now you're on the barrier island and you're not on the beach in the sand yet, but you see the tiki shop selling bathing suits, you see the beach bars, right? And then you park and then you walk onto the sand and you're on the beach. But for all intents and purposes, when you crossed over the bridge to the barrier island, you were on the beach as well. That's what we're talking about here. So while you'll have your feet in the sand of Neptune being officially in Aries starting in March, you're on the barrier island with the tiki huts and the beach bars and the smell of the air, and you can hear the ocean, okay? So we're 1 degree away right now as we speak. May, June, July, August, 1 degree away Neptune is from Aries. So we are feeling this, no doubt. In the whole house chart, every Aries is experiencing what this can look like, which we're going to talk about. In the Placidus chart, we're still all feeling that, but early degree Aries placements. So if your birthday is like March 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, this is really starting to get super personal for you, and you might not understand what's going on, and you need to know. But even if you're not within that small grouping, these themes are coming up and they are not going to be going away for 15 years or so, because we've got this year and a half or 16-ish years, like this year and a half of transition, then 14 years. Anyway, it's going to be a long time. So what does it mean? Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, a water sign, the one before ours. It's been going through its own sign all of this time. It's very at home there. It's comfortable. It rules spirituality and the place that's everybody's connected, the cosmic soup that we are all one. And then the line between Pisces and Aries is a very critical one. And that's why this transit is actually going to be very critical for humanity as well. I'm not going to talk about that as much here. I will probably have something separate out about that. But this is really critical to know because there's a 360-degree cycle of the 0 point of starting with Aries and the last point of Pisces. And that point right at the end of Pisces going into Aries is the individuation point. That's the ascendant point in the chart. That's the rising point in the chart. That is the point where from the cosmic soup, we slip down the Uberlube highway into our body and have our unique form as an individual. And so that's what that represents. So Pisces, flowing into Aries, Neptune doing this thing right now is this energetic of the all that is condensing down into a form. And, it's a very, very powerful series of degrees here. And Neptune rules the all that is. It rules the psychological space. It rules the attic of our being, where all of our fears are, but all of our golds that we can harvest deep within ourselves, our psychological space, our ethereal space, guides and angels, and prayer, and all of that is all in there. And then it comes into Aries, and it's about the physical body and who I am and what I'm doing, and the individual and the unique expression. So when you combine those two, you can see there's a little bit of awkwardness there. It doesn't flow super well. And we will feel that. We will feel that for the whole time Neptune is there. It's like, I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm not really, jiving with it. It's kind of trying to unify these opposite forces. And that's what it's seeking to do. But one of the big ways that this can manifest, and you may be feeling this, is through spiritual warriorship, okay? Aries is the warrior. Aries is ruled by the god of war, and there is a warrior spirit in people with Aries placements. Sometimes directly, actively, physically fighting with people, it has manifested. Sometimes just the arguments, or sometimes it's, just having a voice, being assertive, speaking up. It's that energy of assertion. In the spiritual warriorship zone, though, when you mix spirit with warrior, it's where you become a voice for your own spirit, where you own your intuition and you're not afraid of it anymore, where you don't care what people think if you say you're going to meditate on something before making a decision. And it's a place where instinct and intuition blend into intuitive instinct. Okay, so the physical instinct that Aries gets can be, very impulsive, very physical, very body-based. But the mixing of Neptune with this brings this spiritual element where it's going to make it easier for you to align with divine will. Okay, so we can be 100% successful with our endeavors if we align with what Spirit wants for us. That's something that has helped me to manifest tremendously when I realized that. There are certain things that I want for myself, and there are certain things that Spirit wants for me. And when I align with what Spirit wants for me, then I become 100% successful with that. So for instance, I didn't want to be an astrologer. I wasn't actually interested in that. It was decided, the universe decided, I figured it out through my deep inner work, and now Spirit has completely supported me in being very successful as an astrologer, because that's what was meant to happen. And instead of me fighting against it, which I could have, especially with Aries rising, be like, no, I don't want to be an astrologer. I did try to fight against it. But eventually I realized I'm going to align my will with the divine will. And so this time of that we're stepping into for Aries, and this will be true for all humanity, but it takes a very personal level for us because, it's going into our sign and it will cross our Aries placements. But this is very much about you starting to sort out the difference between what the universe wants for you and what you want for yourself. And sometimes those things will match. That's great when that happens. Sometimes they won't. And so kind of getting on with thy will is my will kind of thing, or whatever it doesn't have to have a religious connotation. It can be completely spiritual from the perspective of there's a plan. Doesn't matter who has it. Your who has it can be whoever it is. But there's some sense of this. And to be able to align with this, you have to sharpen your intuition, which means you have to do the work to do that. So, and then as you do that, it can take on this spiritual warriorship, because then you can put all the power of your fighting spirit on your spiritual path, and you can change so many people's lives. And this was something that very, very much happened to me it was over 20 years ago now, when I found myself, getting in trouble and making choices that were leading me on a path that wasn't good. And I used my Aries energy, not purposely, but it seemed to happen that I was a catalyst, and people would start fights. I would start fights around me, just being a catalyst, and people would be fighting and people would be getting arrested, and I just a powder keg, And I realized, wow, this is actually not what I want to do with that which I have. And you have something special. You have the capacity to excite other people. You have the capacity to incite people and to move them emotionally and physically into action. This is a gift of the Aries, and we can lead people, and we are not afraid to be trailblazers. We're literally, there's no path ahead of us, and we head through that path that isn't there. We make the path so that other people can follow us. So as you align this with your spiritual energy, this is going to be really exciting, and you're going to be able to pave the way for other people behind you who are unifying this. And this doesn't have to mean that you're doing official spiritual work, although it can. This can just mean you uniting with your spiritual side in a different way. And then you can become a voice for other people. That's another way that this can manifest, where there are people that don't have the assertiveness and the bravery that some Aries placements have. And so you may wind up taking up the cause of bringing a voice to people or animals or something else who don't have that voice, or who don't have that strength, or who don't have that vision, or who don't have that direction. So those are ways that this can happen. Also, creative inspiration can be completely fueled. So your hidden gifts can manifest in amazing ways. And this is all happening right now. You can be feeling this happen. In recent months, it's happening. It's been building. It's going to be happening. And we're never going to get far enough away from Neptune being in Aries that this won't be happening. So that's why I'm talking about this now. That's why I feel like I don't want you to miss this whole year of opportunities of this by waiting until March when it's officially there. Officially there is just semantics. This is happening right now for us. So you could be an artist and not even know it. You could have capacity to create something beautiful, something magical, something that inspires people, and you don't even know it. But like the slowing down, the tuning in, the healing, the anger, and some of this may have to do with, as I've talked about before, working with your digestive system in a way that supports your liver and your gallbladder. This is not medical advice. I'm not diagnosing, I'm not prescribing. I'm saying astrologically I have seen, and we know from Chinese medicine, which is well known, and you can research this yourself, that anger is associated with the liver and resentment associated with the gallbladder, and there's a relationship between those. And I have seen that there's often a genetic mutation that causes people with Aries placements to sometimes get more crowded, like you're not processing things as well as some other people. And so it builds up and it turns into anger and it gives you congestion. And that may or may not show up on blood tests. It could, but it could just be congestion. Congestion, in your liver and your gallbladder, congestion on the right side, difficulty processing through certain things that result in anger and impatience. So some of this may have to do with listening to your body and going through the symptoms of the language of what your body's trying to tell you to navigate through to the diet and the practitioners and the healing processes that will actually help you to be less aggravated. And that will help you to use the force and the inspiration that you have as a force for good instead of just being pissed off. One of my favorite Aries friends would always say, I'm going to rip them a new one, which you couldn't wait to lay into somebody. She has a lot of Aries, and this is how it manifests. It's just really funny, and that this is a thing that Aries is good. You're very good at verbally berating people if you want to, and this is a time when you may not be as fulfilled by doing that anymore, and you might want to use the power that you have, insane amount of power that you have, to help people heal. So I could talk at length about that, but there are so many more things to talk about. But this is a very big thing that's happening right now, and it is, not something that you're going to hear probably a lot about unless someone hears this and now they start talking about it, or unless it becomes next year, then you might start hearing about it more. But now's the time to be aware of this. All right, so we have more stuff to talk about. We have Mars moving through Aries for a little bit longer. So if you're in the late degree section, so the same people who I said to watch the Taurus reports, like 24 degrees or so through the rest of the sign, or that's going to be like, let's see, April 14th or so through the rest of the sign, then you will still get your exact hit from Mars. So this is going to be, it's very enlivening, it's very energetic, it's very motivating, it's very obsessive. And all Aries can be feeling that because, Mars is in the sign it rules, which is our sign. So you might be really motivated, which is perfect because between the middle of May and the middle of July, we've got the last long, big open period of the tides being going out and everything being wide open for big decisions. So this is a time for big purchases, big sales, devices, cars, houses, contracts, investments, engagements, weddings, travel, making plans are going to be much easier now than the second half of the year. You can go to, you can go to AnnieHelpsYou.com and look for where it says Secret Star Portal if you want to have my retrograde direct calendar for the rest of the year to see better where we're going to have some pop-up points. But I can tell you now, it's not going to be that much. It's really going to be covered in retrograde, inward and backward. And Aries does not love it. We'll just be honest, right? We'll just say it as it is. We like to move forward. It's a cardinal sign. It goes in a finite direction, and that finite direction is forward. And if we can't go forward, we get aggravated about that, right? So enjoy this time between the middle of May and the middle of July, because you can blaze forward. And after Mars moves out of Aries and into Taurus, which is around June 10th, it's still going to give you massive amount of power to create and push forward, because it's moving to the ox, the ram to the bull, or anyway, horned things that push with their heads. So this is going to have a similar energy, but you're going to be able to have the perseverance that you need to push the projects through. So now that you have this information, which is my point in doing this, is that if you have something that you need to do this year and you can expedite your timeline and you want to bring it out in amazing stars, you can use the power of Mars in Aries and then Mars in Taurus to push it through while you're in this window. Okay? Now, 3 sets of amazing dates to do important things. I'm just going to give you that now. Going to add some for May, because if you're watching this early, it's just such a beautiful set of aspects. The days around May 23rd, phenomenal. 4 beautiful aspects plus a full moon in Sag, which is beautiful for us because it's fellow fire sign. Awesome thing, awesome time to start something new, make a big decision, do something important. You may just have blessings that fall in your lap. June 2nd through 4th, we've got several aspects. Jupiter and Mercury conjunct, Jupiter trining Pluto, and Mercury trining Pluto. So all of that's happening. And that's in Gemini and Aquarius. Those are air signs, which are very favorable for your placement. And, so expansion of Jupiter with the depth of Pluto, with the information of Mercury and the news. It's just a perfect time to do something important. We also have a full moon on the 21st of Capricorn, or 21st. The 21st of June, 1 degree of Capricorn, which can also be another good point for materializing something important. So there are other good points throughout the month that you can do things, but those are my favorite, and they kind of get around this dicey aspect, which is on June 11th. You can sign up for my newsletter at AnnieHelpsYou.com to get more dates if you're interested in kind of fine-tuning to see some of the other sweet and salty dates, but I'm giving you a lot here. Date to look out for, June 11th. I'll give a week in either direction because it's very intense. Mars, our ruler in Taurus, squaring Pluto, ruler of death, underworld. It's very, very, very stressful. It's a nasty aspect. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So they're squaring. June 11th, so we'll say June 4th through June 18th. Tough aspects, blow-ups, exaggerating dangerous responses, ego conflicts, power struggles, violence. If you have anger within you, it could erupt. Other people can be setting off like crazy, volcano, just everything blowing up all over the place. If you can hide under a rock, you might want to do that for certain instances when you feel like things are getting intense, and then just lay low if you can. Don't antagonize someone who doesn't seem stable, and schedule support. If you feel like you've got some things that need to come out, schedule a safe place with a qualified practitioner to get them out, because talk about the anger things. This can be a time where you can heal so much and then become a more happy, productive person after that. So look out for those dates, because you'll definitely be feeling that. But we have those other nice dates, and there are so many nice aspects happening this month. Plus, from the perspective of being in Aries, we've got Jupiter from May 2024 until June 2025 in agreeable connection for us. In Gemini, it's in a 60-degree angle the whole year. So that's possibilities and openings, portals of possibility for us opening for the whole year. But at this time, we've got the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the new moon on June 6th at 16 degrees. So and Jupiter in Gemini, making beautiful angles for our placement. So this is the sign of Gemini. It's lighting up the house of Gemini for us. So it's double Gemini everything for us. Spiraling all over the place, busy, talking, communicating, prolific, writing, expressing, traveling, driving all over. I said that already, but yeah. Anyway, it's all over the place. It's a spiral. Aries moves in a direct way. Gemini moves in a spiral, so you will be kind of all over the place. Relatives are going to be coming up strongly this month. Aunts, uncles, cousins, to parents, because we'll move into Cancer after these Gemini placements. And so between those two signs, it covers like all of our relatives. So all the relatives can come up. Car stuff, if you need a new car, if you need a new device, lots of good energy around that. If you need to launch a book or write something or do something with content creation, this is amazing. You can be prolifically expressing for the short term and the long term. That new moon is beneficial for everybody. The new moon is especially beneficial for people who have good aspects to it, which we do. And if you're close to 16 degrees, you'll get an extra special kiss. We'll give 5 degrees in each direction. So we'll say 11 degrees to 21 degrees. So that's going to be like our April 1st through April 11th. And the closer to around April 6th or 7th, the more you'll get the kiss from that new moon. But nobody's left out of it. You can use this new moon for writing, for reflecting, for social things, for anything that has to do with that. And the whole month is good for that. But, the new moon is really nice for planting seeds. So we will see a definite shift in the energy of the month as these spinning Gemini energies that are so conducive, the air and fire beautifully mixing for us, will start to get bogged down into the emotional things or grounded into. It doesn't have to only be a bad thing, but you will notice them some slowing down for emotional connections, which can be a positive thing. If you've been too busy and you've been missing your family or your people close to you, as the month progresses, you'll have more time to just kind of slow down, hone in, get straight, get centered, and then have really good family time. Family, home, houses, housing, your inner world, your emotions, other people's emotions will definitely start coming up. Sometimes for Aries, this can be a nuisance, and it is a 90-degree angle, and sometimes we want to keep going, and we have to slow down, either for our own emotions or someone else's. So you may notice that. And just really from the elemental standpoint, at this point, the odds of somebody throwing water on your fire, are going to increase. So you might have naysayers or people trying to burst your bubble or people trying to hem you in or slow you down or stop you from dreaming big, and some of it may be warranted. Maybe you're burning out of control and you need help, or maybe you need to get more focused and directed. So this energy can help you. There will be a feeling of it being a little bit of a nuisance or like, a drag, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. This can be a really good thing. And this can also, give you something that's much needed. And sometimes, even if we don't want something, like we don't want water thrown on our fire, sometimes once it happens, it can feel very refreshing and it can let you have the fire that's still burning burn more productively. And that's what water transits turn out to be about with Aries is, maybe we need to get, like I said, more fine-tuned. Maybe we need to get more directed. Maybe we're burning all over the place and we need to kind of just kind of burn in a direction. And these transits can help with that. So that will be really helpful. So overall, a really exciting month leading into a very exciting year of Jupiter expanding possibilities. I do have a Jupiter in Gemini for all signs and a Jupiter in Gemini for Aries specifically. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com/astrology and find it there. You can find it on my home site. You can scroll through my podcast and you can find it there. We've covered a lot about what's going on right now and in the upcoming times astrologically, but if you want even more free stuff from me, go to anniehelpsyou.com. That is my interface for all of my free goodies. And if you want to learn astrology, click on the up level button and you can find my astrology certification course. Even if you want to learn for your own personal purposes or to help your family and friends, I can help you to do that. If you want to earn money as an astrologer, I can help you to do that. Of course, like any other education, what you do with what I teach you is up to you, but I've had many people start earning money for doing astrology within even months of doing this course. And it's very rare that you can get trained in a vocation that literally you can pay your tuition off in 12 hours of work once you're trained. So it's a really, really wonderful course and it just keeps growing. It has over 100 modules. It's very, very comprehensive and you get lifetime access. If you want to access my secret star portal, you can click on the upgrade button at anniehelpsyou.com. You'll get all of my content very early. Plus you'll get my written horoscopes early, plus a lot of other info. And if you haven't joined my free VIP community. You can click on the Unleash, or you can just put your name and email address there at anniehelpsyou.com. And you can sign up and get my sweet and salty dates right up 1 month early with lots of transits and other things for you to know. You can get my free goodies, a relax, unwind, and let go subliminal to help you stay calm during tough astrological transits. You can get my 28-day virtual coaching program for free. And I've also made a player page at anniehelpsyou.com/astrology, where you can see all of my podcasts and the playlists and my YouTube playlist all in one place that's constantly updated. If there is something that's time-stamped, the timestamp will be somewhere around. In eclipse seasons, you can click on the eclipse playlist and it will be always updated for which videos for you to watch to get you up to speed on how the eclipses may affect you, or just to understand what's going on even when we're out of eclipse season. So you can go to anniehelpsyou.com/astrology for one easy location for all of my content. I hope you have a wonderful time until I am with you again. Bye. Oh, and one last thing. If you're subscribed on YouTube, make sure you click the bell and subscribe to whatever podcast report, because I do post fairly regularly, and I've been told that if you subscribe on YouTube and you do not click the bell, you won't get my notifications and my very frequent posts. So make sure, if you're subscribed, click the bell. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, like, share, all of that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.